Hey, what's going on, guys? Aaron Goldsten here. Now, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I've actually been losing some weight. I was just looking at some of the videos I made just a couple weeks ago on YouTube, and my face has gotten a little bit thinner. It's not as puffy. I actually lost 22 pounds of fat in the last 22 days. And I did do that by purpose to make it 22 and 22. That's just how it is. I've lost 22 pounds of fat. I went from weighing 270 to 248 in 22 days. And I did it all by using this right here. And in a later video that I'll be sending you, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it and exactly why this is and how it works. But with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the goodies. So, in this video, I want to talk about the 2 steps for getting anything in life. The 2 steps, the 2 pillars, the 2 tricks, whatever you want to call it. Once you get these 2 things and understand these 2 things, which are very easy to understand, you can get anything in life. Now, of course, I'm going to relate this to money, but you will literally be able to use this to get anything you want in life. And when you watch this video till the end, I'm going to explain what these 2 things are and how they work, and then how you can use it to make the amount of money you want to make and really get anything you want in life. That's kind of the beauty of this. I don't know how long you're either watching this video on YouTube or you're watching this video because you get emails from me. And I don't know how many videos you've watched from me or how many emails you've been getting from me or how long you've been getting information from me, but you'll notice that a lot of these principles and a lot of these concepts and a lot of these strategies for making money you can use to really improve every other area of your life. And that's why you'll see a lot of people who will all of a sudden start making a whole lot more money, and at the same time their health will improve, and their relationships will improve, and their confidence will soar, and their love life will improve. All because these principles, when you understand them, and you will understand the principle, these 2 principles too, these 2 things at the end of this video, you can take it to make money, but you can very easily, without really doing any more work, take these principles and use it to improve every other area of life too. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the goodies, because I know that's why you're here, right? The 2 steps for getting anything in life, including money. The first thing is you have to know the technical stuff. You have to know what's called the information. Now, what do I mean by information? You got to know what to do, right? So let's say that you want to, be a doctor, right? Well, there's certain steps that you need to do in order to be a doctor. You need to go to school. You got to get good grades. You got to apply to to medical school, right? You got to pass tests. You got to take certain classes, right? There's all these things you have to do. And then in those classes, you got to do certain assignments and you got to pass certain tests. So there is a structure, but it's all about having the right information. So the first thing is the information. When I started my detail shop that I started, I've used this in other examples. When I started that detail shop, I needed the right steps. I needed the right information for starting the detail shop. So for example, I had to find a good location. That was one of the things I had to do. The second thing I had to do is once I had a good location, I had to find a good building, right? And there were all these criteria. The building had to be a certain size, and it needed to have room, and it needed to be a certain height, and water needed to drain out of it quickly because we were washing cars inside the building, right? So it had to have a certain structure, and I actually went there and I made sure that water flew out of it and there weren't puddles or anything. So there was all those little things. And then I had to do things like there was this place I had to go and I had to stand in front of and I should remember this, right? But it was like the city. Before I opened up the business, I had to go in front of these people and I had to tell them what my business is and what I planned to do and what I planned to do in order for me to, in order for them to approve my business to be able to be located in their area, right? So I had to go do that, and I knew I had an outline of what I was going to say and when I was going to shut up. I wasn't going to talk too much. I was going to get right to the point when I went in front of these people, right? And then I had to and then I had to get all the legal paperwork, and then I had to hire people, and then I had to get supplies, and then I had to do advertisements. And then in each of those things, there was little steps, right? So in advertisements, once that broke down, I was going to do Valpak. and I was going to say these words, and I was going to use these promotions. I had a strategy for everything. Well, that all falls into one lump, which is the category. Or not the category. That falls into one lump kind of category of information. So you have information. Okay? That's the first step. The first step is having the right information. And it's important that you have the right information. Imagine if I was opening up that detail shop and I said, one of the things I have to do is I have to run from here to the state next to me, and I have to run at least 1,000 miles, and I have to do it barefoot. That's what I need to qualify to open up a detail shop. Well, it sounds kind of silly, doesn't it? And it is. But there's a very important point with this. A lot of people have the wrong information when it comes to getting a certain result in life. So a lot of people think they need to do certain things in order to have a certain result. And then because of that, they do those things and they have pain. If you have the wrong information, you'll take the wrong actions, so you will have pain. You know, I know a lot of people, they think that they need to be the best in what they do in order to get started to start a business or to start something, right? That's BS that other people try to sell you. It's more about marketing and positioning yourself than it is having the best product. You know, my sisters, they were making they started an organic, it's funny because I started these businesses a handful of years ago. And then since that time, my mom started the business. My sisters, they try to do other businesses. It's one of the reasons is I've been planting certain seeds. And, you know, when my mom started her business, and she did it all on her own. I didn't do anything with it. But when she started her business, she was going through challenges that I went through in starting my businesses. So it was great because I understood where she was. And I was able to motivate her, inspire her, and direct her to the right path. There was this point in time when she started her own counseling business, and it'd been like 4 to 6 months after she started, and she had like one client, and she felt kind of discouraged. But I'd been there too with businesses I started, right? The detail shop. When I started it, I wasn't making any money. I was working my ass off. Well, I got to a point where a few months after that point, I was making over $100,000 a year. Because there's an effect that happens that goes like this, and the income soars once you put everything together. And I knew that. So when I was starting the detail shop, I didn't get discouraged at all because I had that information. Well, I passed it on to my mom, and I was able to kind of, tell her that everything was going to be okay, and there was going to become a point in time in the very near future where she's going to have so many clients that she'll actually have to start turning down clients. And she didn't believe me, but it kind of motivated her and inspired her, and she actually got to that point. From the day she started her business, like 6 months later, she had like 1 or 2 clients. 6 months afterwards, she was getting 15 to 20 clients a week. Because I understood how that whole process worked, and I was able to kind of help her out. But I also had that information for myself. Right? So that's kind of all falls into having the right information. The second thing is you need to have the right motivation. You need to be motivated. Because here's the thing. You could have all the information in the world. You could know exactly what to do. But if you don't have the motivation, if you don't have the drive to go out there and do it, none of the stuff is going to get done, and you're not going to get anywhere in life. You're not going to make the money you want to make. You're not going to have the life that you want to have because you have to go out there and do it. Yes, making money, getting rich is easy. It's easier to be rich than it is to be poor. I don't know where you're at in life right now, but if you kind of follow what I tell you to do and you keep watching these videos and you get to the point where you're making a couple $100,000 a year, I almost promise you, without a shadow of a doubt, that making a couple $100,000 a year will be easier and you'll be spending less time doing it than what you are doing right now. As crazy as it sounds, as long as you do the right stuff and get the right information and have the right principles. The first year I made $100,000 a year, I was working significantly less. And the work I was doing was significantly easier than what I was doing before that, which was a server. And being a server, you don't make that much money and you run around a whole lot. All right? So, with that said, you got to have the right information. or not the right information, you got to have the right motivation. You need to be inspired. You need to be able to go out there and actually do what you need to do. You need to have the confidence knowing that, all right, you're going to do these certain things. You're going to take these certain actions. You're going to do what needs to be done. And by doing so, you will get the end result that you want. So you have the motivation and you have the information. Now think about this, all right? So think about this for a second. Once you have the right information, so we'll say this is information. So imagine for a second, think about what you want to do. Imagine that for a moment you could do anything you want to do and make any amount of money doing it. So think about what you're absolutely passionate about and imagine that you can make unbelievable money doing that. And I gave you the exact outline you needed to get that, to have that end result, to get what you wanted to get. Okay? So that's the information. That's right here. And then you had the motivation to actually follow through and do these things, right? Go through this list of things that you needed to do. You used the motivation to do it. Well, you have the motivation to go out there and do it, and then you have the right information. When you put those things together, you're going to get the end result that you want. It's impossible not to, because you're motivated and you're doing what needs to get done, and you're doing the right things. How could you not get the end result that you want? So that's kind of what it is. That's really it summed up. You need the motivation and you need the information. And it doesn't matter if you don't have either of those. I used to be not motivated and very lazy. I trained myself to be motivated. There's things that you can do, and I dive into this more in the 51 Pillars of Wealth, the actual tactics, but there's things that you can do to motivate yourself. You can literally train yourself to be fully 100% motivated in every area of life. And then you can go out there and you can get the right information. And then guess what? You have the motivation. You have the information. You combine that together, and then you can make the amount of money you want to make and get everything else you want in life. Because think about it. Maybe there's something else you want in your life as well. Well, guess what? The motivation doesn't change, okay? How you stay motivated and how you can literally force yourself to be fully motivated, that method for doing that doesn't change. So you can be fully motivated in another area of life. We'll say this is information. Okay, I know this is kind of crazy, but follow me here. It might not be the cleanest video, but you can get the information on another area of life. You put it together, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get what you want in life. It is impossible not to. You might not believe it's possible for you, but I am telling you, without a shadow of a doubt, if you have a little faith and you do these things, you get the right information. You get the right information and you get the right type of motivation and you learn how to motivate yourself. You will be able to make any amount of money that you want to make, and you will be able to get the things that you want in life by simply running this process. Having the motivation, having the information, combining it together, and you will get the things that you want in life. That's what I got for this video, guys. Just kind of keep that in mind. Motivation, information, both those things combined will get you the things that you want in life. If you're watching this on YouTube, of course, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you are watching this on my website and you are not in the 51 Pillars of Wealth, and you would like to learn more about that, you can do so by clicking the link below this video. If you click the link below this video, it will actually take you to a video which will talk about a 3-step formula you can use to get massively wealthy now. And then at the end of that, it will give you some information on how you can join the 51 Pillars of Wealth program. That's what I got for you guys. My name is Aaron Goldsten, and I'm signing off.